Welcome to RPG Book Club. On today's episode, we offer a formal apology to Sailor Saturn for not believing in her.
Welcome to the RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I am Sam Allman.
And I'm Michael Spiffle-Webben.
And today we'll be discussing Chapter 3 of Sailor Moon, Another Story, entitled The Barazuishiou. Before we get started, though, how is everyone's week?
So, my week started off great. So last week we recorded an impromptu Q&A, which I still, at this point, haven't put up to the internet yet, but I will.
Been too busy playing that game.
Actually, I finished that game, so it's something else entirely. But so what it was Rizzo got sick and forgot to send me the file in time for me to edit on Saturday, and then I've had a work week since then. He's still sick, and he wanted to let you guys know that he does have a doctor's note, and he sent us the doctor's note in Discord. Just be like, I am literal sick. So that's where he is today. But beyond that Q&A, which was super fun and cool and way different than anything we've ever done, I just played a lot of Xenoblade, because I'm trying to beat it because my friend bought me Octopath Traveler, and I don't want to double up on RPGs on the same system, because that's how you finish 0 RPGs.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, you played me some of the music from Xenoblade, and
that music has changed my life. Like, it's given me like a come to Jesus moment more than like any Jesus music ever has. And it's like it's so good.
It is really good. Well, and you specifically mentioned when you were playing it for me, like, as someone who really likes Battle Hymn for Everyone's Souls, and I listened to it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally get into this.
And the next continent you get to after you hear that song also has a really badass choral piece. I'm just like, if this is the mood for the rest of the game, I'm down for it.
What about you, Spiffle?
Okay, so my week has been a lot. I last week I finally started getting a lot of hours for work, but then it was like, oh no, too many hours, and I was run ragged all week. But the most important thing is that on Tuesday, as I was trying to play the last half hour of Sailor Moon, my computer completely died.
Woo!
Yay!
I think it's hard drive failure. I think it's physical failure, like not the data on it is gone, but like it's not, reading properly. It's not like spinning. So maybe I could get it recovered, but I can't really afford to get it recovered. So whatever. Point is, I'm computerless. I am using my spouse's computer now, which is a pain, but like it's good enough for now. And I've just been dealing with that. But other than that, my life is pretty nice. So whatever. I'm here now.
Yeah.
Cool.
And what about you, Eli?
I have been working 3:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. and I hate it. I hate every single aspect of that shift.
Except for the fact that me and Rizzo are there.
That's true.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are there. I'm exhausted all the time, no matter how much sleep I get, and it's great. It's just temporary, but if I ever get promoted to this position that I'm doing the temp assignment for, it's very likely that I could be put on it again.
Yeah. And I will say that, like, around the time that you get used to it is the time that you'll be going back to day shift.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So if you do get this job, and my fingers are very crossed for you, then you will probably find your rhythm. Because like you said, having the 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock in the morning, no one lets you know that those are the best hours of the day. Like, you're always just busy giving that to work. And then suddenly you're on night shift and you're like, wait, like, I can go to the grocery store and no one's there.
Oh, yeah. And that's fantastic.
Yes.
Like, I dropped Ken off at the train station yesterday. The grocery store is right across the street from it. So I went over there. No one's there. It was like 7:30 in the morning, and like I could just like take my time and go through, and I wasn't running into people, and they still were selling alcohol, so I was able to get myself some hard cider. It was great.
Yeah, real early morning grocery hours is good. It's real good.
That's the only place, like, up here, now that I'm in Cedar Park, that's the only place that only time I can go to the grocery store. There's too many people.
Oh my god, yeah. Even here in Leander.
I miss living out in the boonies.
Yeah, well, even here in Leander, like, we have one HEB in the general vicinity, and it is always packed.
Mm-hmm.
So
HEBs are hell like that.
Yeah. But other than that, it's going pretty well. So
that's good. I did watch your Let's Play of your new obsession, and it looks really cool, and I need to get it.
Oh, Reigns Her Majesty?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that...
Man.
Like, I was already sold on it when you sent us the picture of the talking bear, but then watching your Let's Play, I was like, oh, this actually looks like something I would get really addicted to.
Yeah.
That game's on my radar for ages, and I just haven't played it yet. One of my favorite writers wrote... are you playing the first one or the second one?
Second one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Lee Alexander wrote that, which is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I posted that specifically because I got told I was like Sailor Venus. And I think it's just like a random thing, and I think it's an owl... It's an owl or a bear, something.
It was something.
It just says random shit every now and then, and it's like it's just like a way to give you additional stats or remove stats if you need to, because of the balancing act that you have to do in that game. It's really interesting. I'm probably gonna let's play some more of that just because.
It's good.
Yeah, it is good. It's very simple, but it's interesting. And yeah, I highly recommend getting it. It's great for like an iPhone game that's engaging, only costs a couple of bucks, and isn't going to ask you for more money. So...
Yeah, that's always a plus.
Yeah,
like I'm loving this Shin Megami Tensei game like surprisingly a lot. Like normally they're like, oh, this will be Final Fantasy, but it'll be Final Fantasy with a crazy plot so that you can get Cloud back. This is just like, no, it's a Shin Megami Tensei game. Like, here's the plot. Like, you're just playing a game right now. And it was like super good, but I could already tell they were like, oh, for fusions, you have to have like one summoned monster and one non-summoned monster, and for summoned monsters, you have to use gems. And I'm like, I'm gonna bump up against that eventually, and I'm not gonna like it. I got it on launch week, so of course they gave me like a million things to make the game pitifully easy. But one of these days, those will run out, and I'm just like, I don't wanna. I just wanna play your game.
Yeah, totally. So, should we get into it? We ready?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's kick it.
Let's do it.
So, last time on Sailor Moon, we went through a super long chapter where we got to play as the individual members of the Sailor team, which was cool, but long. So, that brings us to this week, where we start with Chibiusa at Infinity Academy with her friend Momoko. She showed up in both the anime and manga, just for a little backstory. She goes to elementary school with Chibiusa, and is one of her best friends, along with a boy whose name I can't remember, who also has a crush on Chibiusa, and it's really cute. But their love is never to be because she's from the future.
Yeah, it would be a time paradox.
Yeah, it would cause issues. So we see Anshar in an office in the school, and he's wondering why Chibiusa is there.
And Anshar is the little green boy.
Yes.
That's like the opposito Chibiusa.
Yes, exactly. Sin shows up and tells Anshar to kill Chibiusa and Momo. And then we cut back to Chibi and Momo going through the school. Eventually they go into one of the classrooms, and Momo-chan gets attacked by Grim Reapers. Anshar and Kyubey show up and fight off the monsters.
It's like, it's creepy how much that thing looks like
I know,
Kyubey.
Right?
It's like a Kyubey mixed with a Gazimon. I don't know if you know.
I know enough about
like
Digimon to know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, he's the like purpley bunny one.
Yeah.
It's like that and Kyubey smashed together is this little thing.
Yeah. Well, and this game came out long before Madoka Magica, so like it didn't even occur to me until like recently playing. I'm like, oh wow, that bears a very strong resemblance to Kyubey, or I guess the other way around. Kyubey bears a strong resemblance to it.
Yeah.
Is there a personnel lineage there, or is it just a coincidence or an inspiration?
Probably
or maybe
coincidence. I would say.
It might
cool,
be
cool, cool.
inspiration, but one of the tropes of magical girl manga is there's a magical animal thing that does stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's
this
true.
one is supposed to be like Opposito Luna or Opposito
Right.
Diana or something, and they're just like, oh well, let's make it alien and give it like giant weird bunny ears, and then you're halfway to Cube already.
Yeah, exactly.
like there's only so many ways you can take that idea. You're going to end up with something pretty similar to all the rest of them.
Yeah. Or Rio Oki or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rio Oki is close to that. In a way, Mokana is close
Oh,
to that.
yeah.
And it's just like, like everybody is from the same cloth.
Yeah, exactly.
My headcanon is they're all members of the same species that go into different universes to make people into magical girls, but that's
Or maybe
a whole
they
other
all
thing.
grew up in the same orphanage.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's it. That's probably it.
That was a Final Fantasy VIII reference, by the way, Eli.
Cool.
It's a really
Yeah.
stupid twist.
Yeah, we need to play that one day just so you can say, what the fuck?
I feel like,
'Cause, like-
I think Final Fantasy VIII is the one that Ken said is his favorite.
Yo, it's my favorite, like hands down my favorite. But like that twist is completely unnecessary because then there's good actual twists that happen like 30 minutes later. You just spend this hour like, oh guys, we all went to the same orphanage and we just forgot. It's crazy.
Like literally, they hype up the twist and then they drop it, and you're just like, okay.
I was wondering if, when he said that, if it was meant to be a reference to something. I'm just like, sure. Yeah.
It's kind of a famously dumb, like, it's like the one thing that people who don't actually play RPGs but they're snarky assholes about it, like the one thing they'll know about FF8 is, oh dude, the stupid twist with the orphanage, you know.
Great. So after Momo gets attacked, she starts to get sleepy, and Chibiusa freaks out. Anshar says, okay, well, we should just get her to the sick room. And then Chibiusa pauses to mention Kishal, and talk about how cute it is. And Anshar responds to her and calls her princess, which Chibiusa's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? And
I do have to say that Anshar handles it really smooth because he's just like, yeah, princess. She's like, what? He's like, I love you, and like you're like a beautiful, like a princess. That's all I meant.
Yeah. You remind me of someone. Yeah. So he was just like, they're just like, okay, cool. Yeah. So it turns out the school gates have been closed, and the only way to open them is to go to the control room. They talk about going to the sick room first, but that's actually not possible. You have to go to the control room first.
Yeah.
If you go to the sick room, it's like, oh, the door is closed. Guess we have to go to the control room to open this door too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's helpful. So we go to the control room, and Chibiusa gets trapped inside.
In a very strange looking room.
Yeah, it's got like a weird machine that looks like it's
it looks like Master Chief. Is what it looks
you're
like.
right. Oh my god, it does.
And also, the room's just so big and sparse. It's just like, I thought this was an actual room inside of a building, not a boss arena.
Yeah. Because like in an actual school, the control room would be a closet. You don't need to like sit down in a control room. You just would open it up, and there would be all the breakers and stuff. Like it wouldn't need to be this giant room with this
a big,
futuristic
ominous
capsule
room with
in the
a
middle.
robo head.
So it asks for a password, and of course we don't have the fucking password. What are we supposed to do? We're 10. So
we use our magical space powers. That's what you do when you're 10 and you don't know the password.
Right, exactly.
You try to get on mom and dad's computer and it says password, so you use your space powers to blow it up.
Yeah. So we fight a monster, and we win because we're awesome.
Yeah, at this point, the battles are essentially trivial.
Yeah, I mean, they take
Some of them go on for a while.
Yeah, we'll get to the part where they get hella easy.
So one thing I thought was cool is this fight with Chibi is your first fight with Chibi as her powers, and you haven't played with her yet, so she's at level 0. So you get in the fight, and it gives you 400 experience points, and now suddenly you're at level 10 with everybody else.
It's great.
You have this one fight that you have to cheese with like 3 MP, and now suddenly you're back to normal and everything's fine.
Yeah. It's very, very forgiving in that way. Like there are parts where it gets grindy, but for the most part, like to get you up to speed, like they really help you out. And I will say, even after Chibiusa levels up, her powers kind of suck, but that's because she kind of sucks in the anime and manga.
Okay, so at least it makes sense.
She in the original anime, her pink sugar heart attack almost always fails. It'll like fly out and then just like droop down and hit the ground.
She's in training, okay?
Right? Exactly. Well, like there's been a couple of times. There's one episode where I think Uranus is holding on to her, and she does a pink sugar heart attack directly into an enemy's face. Because Uranus is trying to protect her. And all it does is bap them over and over and over in the head. It doesn't actually, like, do any real lasting damage.
That's really
which
funny.
is hilarious. Sailor Moon S, I would say, is definitely the best season of the original anime, because even though it goes off the rails from the manga, it has its own feeling. It has its own kind of charm to it, as opposed to a lot of it where it's just like, oh, this is a fuck ton of filler. Like, this is filler, but it's also really interesting, fun filler, because we get to see Chibiusa sucking.
Yeah, it's like with Bleach, they ran out of manga because the guy took like 5 years off, and so they ran out of manga, so they like invented their own backstories and like all of this stuff, and like most people don't even know that all of that's filler because it's like actually good. It's not like the Garlic Jr. saga or Goku and Piccolo get their driver's license. It's like
what you mean, the best episode of the entire anime?
It's the best episode of the anime, but it's literally nothing like the rest of the show.
And you're not watching it like, I wonder if this is filler. You're like, yeah, okay, this is obviously filler.
I will also say, like, real quick, as far as why the Infinity arc in the original anime is good, it was directed by Kunihiko Ikuhara, who did a lot of he did Revolutionary Girl Utena, and he had a particular love for Uranus and Neptune, so he put a lot of love into like developing those characters.
Nice.
So I think that helped a lot with the story in that particular series. So anyway, back to the game.
Yeah.
So we get Momo-chan. Anshar comes in and shuts down the Master Chief machine. And then we take, or Chibi insists taking Momo-chan to the sick room. And then we cut to a short scene of Sin pacing around and wondering like, how is she going to handle this? And then she has an idea.
And so Sin has her, because like everybody has one extra animation in their thing, and hers is sitting on things and looking brooding.
Yeah.
And it's not as good as everybody else's individual. Like, it's kind of just like a mass of like black spandex.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I get what's supposed to be happening, and it's cool, but yeah, it's sadly not as good.
Yeah, the execution didn't turn out as well as they had hoped.
Because like Jupiter brushing her shoulders off last episode is like the best thing that happened in sprite art since like Final Fantasy VI. And it's
that's a really cute little sprite that she has.
Yeah. But
we get Momo-chan to the sick room, and Chibiusa mentions looking for the Barazuishiou. Anshar says he's never heard of it and asks why they're looking for it, at which point Momo-chan starts talking weirdly. And it turns out it's Sin talking through her, which is gross.
Yeah.
That's quite an invasion of privacy if I ever saw one.
I gotta say, maybe because of me not being familiar at all with Sailor Moon, or because of this game's sort of odd translation, but I didn't realize that she was talking weird until the characters mentioned it.
Right. Well, I think it's...
I was like, wait, she's talking weird?
Yeah. It's... Part of it, I think, was lost in translation, but I think also part of it was that... like, there's no names next to anything, and there's no voice acting or anything like that. So you just kind of have to, and that's why the characters had to mention it, because like otherwise we wouldn't have known that Momo was talking strangely, because everyone talks kind of strange in this because the translation is off.
But you're right. The big culprit is definitely it doesn't have like the person's name who's talking. So like sometimes the scene's happening and like I'm trying to pay attention. I'm enjoying the game, but also sometimes I just have to sit there and let it roll over me. And I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll just let Eli explain this later.
He's played this game before. He knows what's going on.
This game reminds me of it was actually the three of our conversation in the Discord the other day, where I was like, oh, let me explain Kingdom Hearts. And then Spiffle jumped in and is like, Eli, it's stupid. You're going to have questions anyway, so just ask us when you play the game and then just play Kingdom Hearts 3. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, also it's almost like when what's his name? Gosh darn it. You know, the guy who made Nier.
Yoko Taro?
Yeah, Yoko Taro. Before Nier Automata came out, people were like, so if we play Nier first, will it help Nier Automata make... Or no, he's like, is Nier Automata not going to make sense if we don't play Nier? He goes, actually, I think if you play Nier, it'll make less sense. Just FYI, having played Nier, I totally think that he's right, because there are a few plot connections, but the fact that I can pick up on them but don't understand what they mean is way more confusing than if I just didn't pick up on the plot connections at all.
That's beautiful.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and I've been thinking about picking up Nier Automata at some point, so I'm glad to know that I don't need to play Nier to understand what's going on.
I do think it enhances the experience, but in a way where you're like, I'm enhanced but confused.
I guess I'm enhanced.
So what you're saying is it's like the Pokemon move Swagger, where it raises your attack but then confuses you, so you're enhanced but confused.
Exactly.
Exactly. So,
back to this game for the 40th time. We're still in the same paragraph that we were like 20 minutes ago.
So after Sin talks through Momo, she finally shows up and tells Chibi to die quickly, princess, which I thought was a fun line.
It's a real good line.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Then she just sends Chibiusa and Anshar off to some random forest. Or maybe Anshar teleports them.
I think they teleported away intentionally, because remember, I mean, that's where they needed to be, right? Like, so.
Yeah. So I think Anshar teleported her to save her from her sister.
Yeah, I think you're right.
From his sister.
I also think maybe the Barazuishiou and Ginsuishiou, do they have some kind of sentience or some sort of will?
Sort of. So
Yeah.
It's explained a lot in the Stars anime and manga. So it hasn't come up yet, but everybody has something called a star seed within them. Some star seeds are more powerful than others, and those are sailor crystals. And the star seed basically encompasses your body and soul. Like that is who you are. And if your star seed is taken away, then your body just is gone. You're essentially dead. Chibiusa's Ginsuishiou starts glowing. She assumes that the Barazuishiou must be around somewhere, and then cries out for Sailor Moon's help. Thankfully, Usagi has magic mom powers and hears her through this other dimension.
And time and space.
Yes, yeah.
Because she's not her mom yet.
Right, exactly. But still, like, you know, it's that maternal instinct that Usagi somehow has, and yet she's still like a total space case. Luna comes in and says, Hotaru has disappeared, which is weird because she's not a total space case like Usagi is. Like, that happens a lot where Luna just insults Usagi, and Usagi's like, oh, okay, I guess you're right.
She's their relationship is that meme. You're not wrong. You're just an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. So Momo-chan suddenly runs into Usagi's room because she let herself into the house, I guess, and says Chibiusa
she's not a vampire. She can just do it.
Yeah, true. There is actually a vampire girl in the Sailor Moon. Yeah, she's in the original anime too, because there's like a little short that they have. Anyway, so
anyhow,
Usagi promises to find Chibiusa and then heads to Infinity Academy because that was where Momochan said they were. So we get there and see a cutscene of Sin and Professor Tomoe, who's Hotaru's dad, in a school office. And Sin...
When he popped up, I had forgotten what Professor Tomoe looked like, so I thought he was Opposito Mamoru, and I was just like, ooh, this is interesting, and I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I know this, this crap. Well, never mind.
Well, also, one important thing is that Eli told me that this is important for y'all to know, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but this should be surprising because he is dead, right? Or supposed to be. Yeah, so that's a shocker that he's not dead.
Right, exactly. Yeah. If we're going by manga logic, he's dead. Which
and he's not Despacito Mamoru.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
That's the new bit I thought of, guys. I hope you like it.
I do. I love it.
I love it. Stop happening.
Sorry.
Oh, we got the giggles now. Okay. So...
Okay. I'm good.
All right. Great.
Lemon face, lion face.
Yeah.
Lemon face, lion face.
So Sin tells Tomoe to invite Sailor Moon to Tomoe Labs and kill them. And then we cut back to Usagi and Luna feeling an evil energy coming from somewhere around Tomoe Labs. Surprise, surprise. And we head over that way.
Okay, this part was so funny to me because they were literally like, let's go to the school. And then they get right in front of the school and they're like, wait, but we hear evil energy coming from the labs. Well, forget about how we were going to go to the school. Let's go to the lab now.
Yeah, well, it's her, like, superhero thing. So it's like Spider-Man is late for school, so he's swinging through the city, but then right when he gets to school, he sees a purse snatcher, so he has to be late. He has to stop the purse snatcher.
Yeah, Chibiusa can wait. My daughter's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, but added with the, something weird is happening to Hataru, like, those two together definitely was enough for her to go and do it, but it still was great timing.
Ken was calling her Hot Are You.
Hot Are You? She's the youngest Sailor Scout. You should...
Well, aside from Chibiusa, Hotaru's 12.
I mean,
So, yeah, not cool, Ken. Not cool.
Not cool.
But you know what?
I still love her.
These girls are all sexualized, and you can't tell what age they are because they're cartoons. Okay.
To be fair, like they were all created by a bisexual woman. So yeah. I mean, I would give her more license to sexualize female characters than if they were all created by a dude. But
that's a good point.
In any case,
anyhow,
off on another tangent.
No, duly noted.
So we meet up with Tomoe, and Hotaru shows up, but she's become Mistress 9 again. If you haven't seen the anime or watched the or if you haven't seen the anime or read the manga, watch the manga
or read the anime.
Mistress 9 is an entity that lives inside Hotaru. She was put there by aliens from the Tyoron system.
Cool.
And Hotaru transforms into her finally after getting Chibiusa's Ginzuisho. So she's become Mistress 9 again, and this is a big surprise because, well, this was also brought up by Usagi when she first saw Hotaru in the hospital. Like, you're grown up again. Does that mean you're going to be Mistress 9 again? And everybody's like, nah, it's fine.
I think
surely
in the scene, Usagi's even like, I fucking knew it. I think she says something similar.
Yeah. If she had said literally, I fucking knew it, that would have been amazing. But
but no, this is one of those good fan translations that doesn't translate every kuso as fuck, because those are rough to get through. This one's as far as fan translations go, this one is a really good translation. Like, there's things they could have done to localize it a little better, but as far as the translation goes, it's not word soup, and it's not cussing at me, so it's
like
pretty
the philosophy of it isn't annoying, even if the quality of it isn't always perfect.
Oh yeah, totally. And then we fight, and it takes forever because we were only doing like 14 damage.
Yep.
And then so we defeat her, and then Kaolinite shows up, and then we fight. and then we win after like 20 minutes of fighting. And
it's like, Kaolinite's here, and I'm like, cool, I guess I'll fight someone named Kaolinite.
Kaolinite was Tomoe's assistant. She was like a grand magus or something like that. And
she was the evil person.
Evil person. And we had killed her, so it's, again, surprising that she showed up. And then we beat her, and Tomoe can't believe our pitiful 14 damage per hit could defeat them both, and he leaves.
It was at this point I was really glad that chapter 2 was so grindy, because everyone shares bag space. So I was like, dang, I'm not going to survive this. Good thing I have 1,000 life waters. So we're good.
So Hotaru wakes up after this, and she's herself again. But Luna comments about Tomoe turning into a strange person, which I think is more supposed to be a comment about him being alive again. But
because he was already this strange, like when he was alive. It's not like, oh, the super nice Tomoe from before came back and he was evil this time. It's like, no,
this is exactly as weird as he was.
Well, the main bad guy of season 2 was still the main bad guy of season 2. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
There was some sort of, maybe I misread this, but I did feel like there was some sort of dialogue alluding to like him having sort of an internal battle of sorts, which implies that perhaps he was being influenced by some outside force, not necessarily mind control, but it did seem like he was not himself.
Well,
I don't know what himself is, just based on what I was reading.
But that is also what was happening during Sailor Moon S.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So it's like he's being possessed by an outside force and it's not himself, as usual.
As he does.
Like it's a clumsy line. I'm not sure if it's referring to his, because he had a change of heart there at the end. It was like, we skipped over the thing, or does that? Oh no,
that's later. That's later.
Never mind. So yeah, I have no idea what she's talking about then.
So Hotaru transforms into Sailor Saturn, and we head through the door that Tomoe went through. We meet up with him, and Usagi asks why Hotaru is being dragged into a battle. He calls it a project, which strikes me as weird. And then he forms into Germatoid, which is his like evil alien form that had been possessing him. And then we fight. And Hotaru dies over and over and over and over because he targets her and she just keels over because she has like 3 health. So eventually we manage to beat him. And he has like a little freak out moment, and he starts like hearing Hotaru's voice asking her to protect him, but it's not Hotaru, and Saturn is trying to get him like, come on, wake up, like pull yourself out of this, and he's like, no, shut up, and he ends up disappearing in a big flash of light that knocks him back. So Usagi makes the obvious statement saying, your father is being controlled. No shit, Sherlock. So Luna like reassures him, like, we can't let this get us down. We have to just keep pushing through this. So we head forward. And this is the part that I don't have notes about.
I liked on this part how, real quick, so just like in the previous episode, or 2 episodes ago, when there was that AoE thing that didn't even hit the characters, here, when he explodes in that flash of light, the flash of light doesn't like reach any of the characters. And also there's like a whole second gap. And then like a second after it happens, they fly back towards the wall.
That's it.
And at first I was very confused. And I was like, oh, wait, okay, no, I got it.
It was that flash of light that didn't even touch them. Got it. One of the cool things about this lab is that, so you find Sailor Saturn's accessories. They're in the throne room where Hotaru used to sit. It's like a throne and then like a bunch of stuffed toys beside it.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going to ask about that. Yeah, what's up with that?
So in the anime and manga, Hotaru would sit there and Mistress Nine would speak through her. But Hotaru was, she was essentially like just being possessed at that time. And she would talk to Tomoe and tell him, I need more energy, or I need, human souls because I'm evil.
Like you do.
Exactly. And so like that was basically where Tomoe would commune with her. And it's really creepy and awesome. But yeah, I thought it was really cool that we got to find Sailor Saturn's accessories there.
Yeah. I really liked how...
Also, you get those accessories, and now suddenly she's, like, the fucking best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like how you walk through that room with no commentary. Like, I'm in a lab, everything's metal, and all of a sudden I go to this room, and there's this lush, red, like... red regal looking like throne room with what looks to be like a bunch of little sprite toys and dolls, and me not having seen the show, I'm like, this is clearly very important, but I thought it was really cool how there's not even like a 2-second cutscene. You just you walk through the room, you maybe open the treasure chest, and then for someone who who know what that is, it's just like, oh look, it's that, but that's not relevant to the plot right now, so we're just gonna walk past it. I thought it was cute.
Yeah, it's a really nice homage. And I thought it was really cool that that's where you find Saturn's equipment. Yeah, she gets beefy as fuck. Suddenly she's doing like 900 damage.
Yeah, she's a beefy boy.
Her peak of damage throughout the rest of this chapter was 3,000 for me.
Oh wow,
she did 3,000. It was to some trash mob, so like it wasn't like anything cool.
Did you like grind her up?
But also didn't matter.
No, just by normal exploratory grinding. But yeah, it's because I put it in the arrow, so she's out in like the front, which gives her like two buffs to her attack, plus the fact that she's super powerful already. Yeah, and so
I have them in the cluster formation, so I need to. I should probably switch that up so that she can get the most potential.
I have her in the victory formation. So I have her and Haruka in the front, and everybody else in the back, and Chibi in the very, very back because she was already doing 1 damage anyways. Why not put her where she only gets 1 damage? Right,
exactly.
That's the formation I've been rolling since the beginning of the game for sure. Except I forgot about it in this chapter, so I'm still in it.
Chibiu says basically an experience sponge. That's what she's there for. So we meet up with Tomoe again, and he seems to be like having an inner struggle because he's like fighting with himself out loud, and Saturn's like, "Oh, I'm here, Papa," and then Usagi blasts him with the Ginzuisho, which is actually a healing blast, not a death blast. Because
It's funny, like, in the original anime, one of the problems they have is they have a canonical, this thing solves all of everyone's problems, but they never use it because they need to go into a fight. And so it's like every time Usagi acts for the first time in the fight, like, everyone else will be like, oh, here's some fire in the face, here's some lightning in the face, all right, Usagi, your turn. And she's like, this could have solved it from the beginning.
Well, it's like Pokemon, they have to weaken it first.
Yeah. It's...
One of the...
And so, yeah, it's like a big old laser, and then in the anime, you see everything die, but then turn back into whatever the good thing was. So it healed it of the bad thing.
Right.
And turns it into the good
exactly.
thing.
One of the things that's brought up... one of the things that's brought up in the anime is that, and I don't know if this is the case in the manga, I don't think it is, but in the anime, it frequently comes up that if Sailor Moon directly uses the Ginzuisho, it'll kill her.
Oh.
So she has to be kind of reserved about how she uses it.
In I think it's the S movie. It's a big thing
it's
where
the R
she's
movie.
like, is it the R?
Where
R
she's
movie?
fighting with Fiore.
Yeah, our DVD that we have of the movies is out of order, so it's hard to know. But like. Because it should be RS Super S, but I think it's SR Super S on the thing, so I can never keep them straight. But that's like a big plot point there at the end. Is she's just like, look, if I use this, I can save everyone, but I'll die. So I guess I'll die.
Yeah, so I guess I'll die. But then she doesn't, because Mamoru can kiss her back to life, because that's what a prince does.
Seems OP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Wait, so there's
Please
an S movie and an R movie. When are they going to make the A, I, L, and O movies?
LOL. At first, because I'm I'm egotistical. I thought you were doing SRALLMON, which is my work login is SR Allman. But no. Never mind.
Anyway. So we blast him with our healing power, and Tomoe collapses, and a
weird little darkness raven comes out. I don't know if that's a new darkness raven or a throwback darkness raven.
That is a throwback to the original anime when the daimons, when they would be defeated, they would leave an egg behind, and the egg would crack, and like a evil darkness raven would fly out and then just disappear.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, well, and he also mentions, he says, Hotaru, your voice brought me back to my senses. But then, the daimon raven thing comes out and then knocks Tomoe over, and he tells us to defeat it. So we fight the Stone Danger, and we kill that in like 2 hits because Hotaru is OPAF.
Yeah,
it's great.
Like, part of me wonders, did they balance this to make it like, to give you the, oh, this is hard and now I feel awesome, like, but like high key that to like, because it's supposed to be like baby's first RPG to get people who didn't typically play RPGs to play an RPG. Did they do that on purpose, or did they just not balance at all? And they're just like, plus 10 attack seems good for an equipment, right? Yeah, that's fine. And then, while we're programming attack, every attack will double your output. So let's just 200 times your output real quick.
I feel like it was probably just more like, man, there sure have been a lot of cutscenes and bosses in a row. It'd be real annoying if they died right now.
That's all. There's also that. Yeah. We didn't get many chances to save at this point. So we defeat the Stone Danger, which incidentally looks like one of the daimon from the manga.
Oh, nice.
In the manga, it was rather than being a like they put an egg into a car and suddenly you've got a lady who looks like a car. Like now it's we've basically like genetically regressed this human to look like this horrible blob beast. They call it atavism, and they've basically like de-evolved, but for some reason de-evolution turns them into a blob beast and not like a giant gorilla monster or something. But anyway,
atavism is a real word that means something. What does that word actually mean?
No idea,
man. Oh, whatever. Yeah,
I know it's a real word, and I can't remember either. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what the word normally means. That way, I can know how that word relates to the word as it's used here.
Atavism is a modification of a biological structure whereby an ancestral trait reappears after having been lost through evolutionary change in previous generations.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay. So yeah, it's pretty similar.
Yeah. So we defeat that, and Hotaru says, "No, Papa, you can't die." And what he says is really sad. He says, "Don't think of it like that. I'm just returning to my original destiny."
Mm-hmm. Because I'm already dead.
I'm already dead, yeah. Super sad. And he asks if she's hurt, and she says, "No, I'm not hurt. All because of you." And it's like, I don't think that's actually
how sad this
no. Anyway, moving on. I'm pretty sure Sailor Moon is the one who kept you from being hurt, but whatever.
She's sad because she's sad because he leaves their raiding party because he really prefers the original Destiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
That we're gonna keep making that joke. If you don't,
hey, at least I'm coming up with original variations on it. He said it, not me. The character.
It's true.
Fair enough. So Usagi asks if Hotaru is okay, and she says, I just want a little more time with him, but I'll be fine. And well, she screams out "Papa," but
yeah.
But it's fine.
I'm fine, but I need to sob uncontrollably first.
So
hey, at least she didn't try to do a what's the she didn't try to pull a Kasala where she's just like, "Stop being sad right now, you idiot."
Yeah, that's like the great thing about Sailor Moon. And I mean, they do that sometimes, but a lot of the time it's like the characters are allowed to be sad and they're allowed to grieve.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only time it's really ever anybody's ever like stop being sad is because Usagi is constantly crying over everything.
Yeah.
And Rei will frequently smack her and tell her to snap out of it, which is a thing that she needs sometimes.
Yeah. So, yeah, at this point, I don't remember how, but Saturn like collapses and you take her back to Usagi's room to wish her back to health, and that happens really quickly.
Yeah.
For someone who just like collapsed, like, oh no, well, we'll leave her here so she can heal. And she's like, oh hey, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah. This is my MO
aside.
3 times in this game. But
yeah, so Luna asks, what do you think that spirit was that came out of Tomoe? To which Usagi says it was just our imagination. We fucking fought
That's
it.
so good.
I love
That's so
Usagi
great.
so much. She's just like she wants to sleep. She doesn't care. Everything's chill. She's like, I'd rather just not worry about it. Don't.
I feel like
Right.
like she'd be a total stoner.
Yeah, she's a stoner. Absolutely.
Like, as far as like chosen ones go, like she's probably the like most reluctant one that still somehow does everything.
Yeah.
Like she still like succeeds at being a chosen one, but she's just like, look, I want to eat. Like if you have food in this quote unquote crystal Tokyo, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But if not, deals
Like,
off.
well, it's like she'll always put in minimum effort. And by that, I don't mean minimum effort possible. Like, she'll put in the minimum amount of effort required to succeed. So she'll succeed, but won't put in any more effort than necessary. So she's just like, yeah, okay, I'll try 70% today because this bad guy's kind of strong, I guess.
I wonder if the Ginzuisho would have chosen a different person if, like, all of the bad stuff would have been solved in season 1. Like, oh, all the evil is coming. If you would have done 100% effort, you would have stopped everything. But no, now we have the Black Moon arc, so thanks.
I was going to say the only reason she cares about Crystal Tokyo is because she thought it was spelled like a K, so she thought she'd get delicious mini burgers there.
Yeah. She's like, ooh, sliders. I want slider Tokyo.
Exactly. So she says that all the sadness has been sealed up. And Luna tries to snap her back to reality by being like, Tomoe came back to life, we saw it. We were there. We fought him. And Usagi goes into denial mode and is just like, no, I don't want to remember anything that happened.
Well, she's just like, the immediate crisis has been solved, therefore everything's fine. The fact that there's clearly something going on is not registering to me.
Right.
Yeah. And then Luna's like, oh, but remember, you didn't find Chibi. Remember the thing that you got out of bed for? So let's go find Chibi. Let's go back.
It's like when Democrats think that if Trump wasn't president, everything would be fine.
And so we head off back to Tomoe Labs.
Oh yeah, Hotaru wakes up as well and comes with us.
And so we head back off to Tomoe Labs. Luna says, "Oh, everything's fine over there because we sealed up all of the darkness, so you can investigate and not have to fight trash mobs." Which we then don't do because we get as soon as we get there. Uranus and Neptune are like, hey, the thing you were trying to do and find your daughter? Well, we found her for you, so let's go to a forest.
Yeah, they even say, like, you're late. Wow, okay.
I was having a side quest and also killing someone's dad who came back to life, by the way. It's chill, it's whatever. Let's just go. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So we do a sailor teleport, which I thought required 5 senshi. But apparently you don't need 5 people for that. You can do it with 4.
Or because this is a 16-bit RPG, they only had 4 directions to work with, and they were like, well, it'll look better here than if we tried to fit 5 people in a circle.
Yeah.
We'll just go
somebody
with it.
got fired for that little blunder.
Non-canonical.
Unplayable.
Yeah. I cannot abide by this atrocity. my other theory was Uranus and Neptune are more powerful than the Sailor team because they've got to protect the entire galaxy as opposed to, or the entire solar system, I should say, not the galaxy, as opposed to the Sailor team who just has to protect Usagi. And she's easy. It's fine. She never gets into trouble. What are you talking about?
I also, like, in Chapter 2, we saw that, like, the Sailor Scouts could teleport by themselves. So, and right after we get there, they're like, oh, we were just here looking at things in this forest. And so I wonder if they were like, they threw in the Sailor Teleport to, like, try and explain we're just going to be everywhere on Earth all the time and deal with it. Sort of, like, acceptance of the game. It's like, the game doesn't work if we can't just all teleport everywhere. So, like, deal with it.
Well, the Sailor Teleport, the Sailor Teleport definitely did exist before this game.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying it did, but I'm saying that they did it right here to be the explanation for why everyone can suddenly get to the top of Mount Everest.
Right, it's like a little retroactive lamp shading.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, we can Sailor Teleport, and look, it only takes 4 people, so the 5 is not true for this.
Okay.
We can do whatever we want.
That makes sense. So they get to the forest, and they're like, yeah, Chibiusa must be somewhere, so... we'll go find her. We don't know exactly where, but we'll just search around.
And they say a line that I know is just Usagi is the main character, and so she needs to be the person you're walking around the map. But they sit there and like, yeah, so we scouted out the area and we found the enemy, so we know where Chibi probably is. But it'll somehow be faster if you're the one in charge, Usagi. So we'll all follow you.
Which makes no sense.
To stumble blindly through this forest so that we know exactly where to go.
Like, these people are all so much more competent than Usagi. Like, it's like y'all could have just finished the plot right now. Like,
If anyone,
let Usagi do it.
If anyone is well aware of how incompetent and how like clueless Usagi is, it's Uranus and Neptune, because they watched her give up the Moon Chalice, and now they've also watched her give up the Ginzuisho again, and like they in the original anime they cannot stand Sailor Moon.
I know what it is. They just want her to feel included.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
If they went and solved the plot without Sailor Moon, then she'd feel bad. She got serious FOMO, and they're just being sweeties.
Yeah. So we go through and we fucking murder everything because Hotaru, Sailor Saturn's attack is an AoE, and it just murderalizes everything.
Everything at all.
Yeah.
Yep. I was really appreciating the. This is about the part where I had to tap out of the game because my computer broke. But I was really appreciating for a bit the curse for memory here.
Yeah. It was great because it was basically just like run around. All right, hit A a whole bunch. Run around, hit A a whole bunch.
Did you know you can just hold A?
You can just hold it. It's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it buffers your inputs and does it 1 frame per menu, and you just zoom through the whole thing, and it's beautiful.
So, yeah, that's great. We found Chibiusa, but I bypassed her temporarily so I could go get chests.
Yeah, and we find in this forest, we find our first diamond accessory for Sailor Moon, and we find ones for Uranus, I believe.
We find one we find one amber accessory, and I think we found one aquamarine accessory as well, which is for Sailor Neptune.
But they're not super powered yet, like Uranus or Saturn is. So Saturn still is just kicking butt, taking names.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, Neptune is pretty damn weak. Like by the time we got to a part where it started to get hard, I only had her doing like link techniques. Because she was otherwise pretty useless.
So this speaking about the level design real quick of this forest is it's a hallway, like it's a straight up Rogue Galaxy hallway, but it's just like the labyrinth in Rogue Galaxy. Every path takes you to Chibiusa, but there's just a lot of paths.
Yeah.
So it's like you get to feel like you're exploring, but you can't actually be lost, because if you just always take the one that goes up, she's at the top of the screen.
Right.
There's no actual thing, which I think is hilarious, because on the the website that has the map that I've been using, because Tokyo is not a hallway and it's really easy to get lost in. They have like, in case you get lost in Chibi's forest, here's the map for it. I'm like, how could you possibly?
Yeah, you just kind of go up-ish and you'll probably be fine.
Yeah. There's no way to get lost in that forest, which is great for baby's first RPG.
It feels like exploration, but it's not exploration. Like, it's great like that.
So we find Chibiusa, and Sailor Moon comments, we're so glad you're okay, and then mentions, like, who's this kid lying on the ground? And
faking being knocked out this whole time. But...
yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
I forgot about that part. It's so funny.
Yeah. So Chibiusa explains, like, he protected me, and then we got here by flying up into the sky. So yeah, Anshar brought them. I had totally forgotten about that. And then Uranus says he's Chibi-chan's knight in shining armor, like Sam had mentioned earlier, and it just doesn't make any sense that Uranus would be the one to say this.
Of all Senshi, she's the one that doesn't make sense, because she's so like genderqueer and like not traditional in her gender politics.
She wouldn't subscribe to that concept.
It was,
and then she's like, "Oh my God, it's a little boy and a little girl. You're such a ladies' man, aren't you, Anshar?" Like an old person trying to get into Scarlett's pants every time I take her out in public. Like, it's so.
That shit is creepy. It's
so creepy. Like,
yeah.
The creepiest one, as a side little story. So we were at Golden Corral one time. Scarlett was like 4 months old, like just starting to eat like her solid food and stuff, like super duper little. And Scarlett doesn't have a strong grandfather presence in her life, because Summer's dad lives up in Chicago, and then Tony works out of town. So and then my dad is 5 hours away, so she really doesn't have a grandpa. So every time she sees an old guy, she's like, is grandpa time on? Like, is this now what a grandpa is? Like, are you finally my grandpa? And so every old man, she's always like smiling and stuff at, which is the worst, because then the old guys are like, and this happened at the one with Golden Corral. He looks over at her and is just like, "Will you wait for me?" And I'm like, "Hell no, she won't, you motherfucker."
Oh, like, God.
You just said, "Can I have sex with your daughter in 18 years?" And that is really not cool.
No.
What's so weird about that is it's just like, why would... so there's two aspects of it, right? The filter, obviously, of like, why would you think it's okay to say? But before that, like, why would the thought to say that even occur to you? Like, what kind of brain has that happen? And
a
it's so
cishet
common.
brain. No offense, you guys.
But not even though. I mean, obviously that's certainly a requirement. It's certainly an if-then statement. But like, on top of already being cishet, what else has to happen to make? Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
And so like, I don't like snap back at them as much as I want to, because I know that like older people, like everything was about like making a family, doing all,
they're from
all
a
that
different
stuff.
time.
So and so like seeing a little girl is like, oh, like the way that works is she's going to marry a dude and make a family, and that's a good thing. So I'm going to like talk about that, like that's a good thing for your daughter to grow up to be.
Yeah, honestly, Sam, you just answered the question.
But it's just like gross.
Yeah,
I don't want it.
No, it is gross. But it's like, hey, I need to reinforce like my idea of gender hierarchy at every opportunity. Like, it's just like making these offhanded jokes is a requirement for me. I must do it, otherwise society will fall apart.
Kids these days don't even make offhanded gender politics jokes.
Being a weird pervert every opportunity. Me being a pervert every opportunity is saving Western society.
Yeah, exactly.
But
like it would have even made more sense for Neptune to say that line, because she's very much a romantic. You know, not in like the same way as the Sailor team is, where they're just like boy crazy, but she's.
Of the present Senshi right here, it should have been Sailor Moon.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. Because she would also be teasing Chibiusa about that sort of thing. Because that's what they do. But anyway, So Chibiusa yells at Uranus and says, "Nuh-uh." And Neptune makes a comment about Anshar's powers, about how he can destroy enemies and he can fly. And then we see that he is not actually unconscious, because he's like, oh, well, it's over if we set the princess free from my sister's influence. And
and like, I'm starting to like Anshar here, because like he fakes being asleep for this whole dungeon, which is fairly inconsequential, and we'll probably zoom right through it. But like, every time they do something, he like talks about it as like, wait, the Sailor Scouts are actually good people? What is this?
Yeah.
type thing. And he's just like, I can tell he's about to be like our man on the inside, as much as like he already saved Chibi's life. But I can tell like chapter 4 and 5 might revolve around Anshar like turning over to good, and I am excited for that.
Yeah.
No spoilers either.
I'm not saying anything.
Anshar's character is the exact kind of character that I usually get annoyed by and don't like, but right from the get-go, I was like, wait, I actually am enjoying this character, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like naive for him, and not like painful, you're a grown-up, why are you doing this? Like, the fact that he's a kid, and he's like, oh wait, I can't just believe everything that my sister tells me, is like awesome, and not like, wait, you mean being a Nazi was bad the whole time?
Right. You mean we're the bad guys?
We're the baddies.
Yeah. And that's a normal thing that kids go through. Like, you have an older sibling, you look up to them. I was that older sibling, and then my sister realized I was stupid and decided she didn't want to be a fat tranny like me. Oh, sorry. I'm saying that about myself. I would never.
It just caught me off guard.
You were saying that you actually were stupid as a child. Not, I was misreading.
No.
Okay.
I will say, just to clear the air here, I would never, ever use that word toward anyone else. I only ever use it self-referentially, and I am transgender, so I'm allowed, all right?
Okay.
All right, now that that's out. I just, immediately felt bad for saying.
Somebody was just tuning in this episode and didn't understand. Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, we head off into the cave above us. There's a little bit where they're like, "All right, Chibi, you sit outside in this dangerous forest by yourself while we're going to go and fight the bad guys." And she's like,
supposedly unconscious boy.
Yeah, and Chibi's like, no, that's stupid." And so Usagi says something along the lines of like, "Okay, well, like, just hang in the back and like don't fight like with us, because I don't want you to get hurt or something." It's just like shoves her aside. And if I was Chibi, I would have none of it. I would just like, you know what? Timeline be damned. I'm going to kill my mom.
It doesn't matter if I'm going to disappear. If I'm going, I'm taking her with me.
Right.
And Uranus even mentions that Chibiusa's Ginzuisho seems to be reacting to the Barazuishiou, so it would be best if they brought her along anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go up into the cave, and it's like a frozen wasteland. Which you know what?
Another
actually,
ice cave dungeon.
Yeah. So Usagi mentions that it's like D Point, which is from the first season, where they were going up to the North Pole to find Queen Beryl's evil lair.
Queen Beryl was the one that was when Jadeite and those guys, when they were bad, they were working for her.
Yes,
and so
she is.
This is all like putting a bow on that little resurgence of that subplot for this game. Yeah, is coming back to.
She's the one who destroyed the original Moon Kingdom. So
she bad.
Yeah, she bad. She real bad. she that bad. And so we I don't know who's dragging along Anshar's body. He just kind of gets absorbed into us whenever we move.
Yeah.
But we see him, like, anytime they stop, we see him, like, muse about what's going on and how, like, he's starting to kind of understand that the Senshi might not be as bad as he thought they were originally. And then we fight the Double D girls.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. They are prominent enemies if you watched the original anime. They're the ones
I did not, so I had no idea that this was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they were random battles because there's no like overworld sprite or anything. They just happen. And so I'm just like, oh, this is a cool looking mob. Let me just spam all of my attacks real quick and then take them down in 2 turns. So everything is fine. And then at the end, they're like, oh, we totally been fighting like this thing from the anime. And I'm like, oh, I guess.
Yeah, they were stronger than normal mobs, and they are in scripted spots.
Yeah.
I really like when games do that.
Yeah, they're the ones who killed the original 4 Senshi. And yes.
Sorry, I'm watching along with your Let's Play, and we were just talking about how her pink sugar crystal attack doesn't work, and she just did it, and it like bounced off the DD girl's forehead and did 3 damage. And I'm like, yeah, that's about right.
Exactly. Yeah, I was remarking about how her pink sugar heart attack just kind of flops over a lot of times in the anime. Yeah.
Yeah, we fight the DD girls.
we fight them and get through it. They're certainly much more difficult. And then, sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, there's a small scene where you get to they're like, where's the door? And they're like, oh, we found the secret door. It's inconsequential. I don't think anything really happens next until you actually get to Beryl.
Yeah, all they did was mention like, oh yeah, we must be about to fight Beryl because these were the Triple D girls. Or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, and so then you get to explore the dungeon, and because these were scripted fights, there are no random battles, so it's really easy to go back and get all the chests you missed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this whole dungeon was just a whole barrel of fun.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. And so the door scene is cute because Usagi's like, oh, like there's nothing here, Chibi, you're stupid and you don't know anything.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then the outer Senshi are like, well, you should like maybe believe in her a little bit. And so Usagi's like, obvious, like it's hard to tell because they didn't animate this, but like because of what happened, you can tell like in universe, she was like banging on the wall. She's like, this is a real wall. Like there's nothing here. And then Chibi walks up to it and the wall disappears and Usagi falls flat on her face. And it's great.
Yeah.
Also, it's like there was a hidden secret wall door like in the last chapter. Like this is not an unheard of concept. She's like, really, a secret door? Don't be stupid.
Oh, I do want to mention real quick. I'm fucking exhausted, which is why if I repeat anything or if I say something that we already said during the Let's Play, it's because I'm loopy, or not the Let's Play, the fucking podcast. It's because I'm loopy and I can't remember what was said during the podcast and what was said before we started recording. So
it's all
I'm like
good,
all
man.
fucking over the place right now.
That sounds like something a malfunctioning robot would say, so that we don't notice that it's a malfunctioning robot.
Oh shit! System error. System error.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm watching along too, so I can help.
Okay.
I can help guide to stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, we walk through that fallen apart door and we find Queen Beryl.
And then we fight.
Yep.
And then we fight
because that's what we does.
Yeah, and she tries to explain as if we're like none of the Senshi are remembering the whole chapter 1 where Destiny got patched.
Yeah.
And instead of just like, I have no idea why I'm here, but I'm going to kill you, which would be fine because we've already chewed that scenery. She's like, yes, I was sealed away by you, but once again, I stand before you to blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, it's just say, I don't know. I'm going to kill you. That's all we need.
All the bad guys are back. We know this.
We get it.
Let's do it.
So yeah, we fight Queen Beryl, and then it looks like she's defeated, but she's not defeated. She has another form.
Oh.
And so
wait, an RPG where a boss has multiple forms? This is not real.
It's crazy, right? So then we fight Queen Beryl and a giant evil flower. Which is
as you do.
Yeah. It's her Metalia form. She's like when she's fused with Queen Metalia, which is like this evil entity that is kind of formless, and is just made of energy. But in this fight, this is an interesting thing that it does, and one of the places where I learned that sometimes in RPGs, there are fights that you have to lose. Because
and that's the first time this happened in this game.
Yeah.
You do very, very little damage, and she does 9,999.
Yep.
So, the first turn with her, she didn't use her AoE. She just used like a individual one. So I was like, okay, that hits like a truck, but I'm going to like manage around it or whatever. And then the second turn she used her AoE. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to die.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're straightforward with it, because the worst thing about those have to lose fights is sometimes they're hard but not absurdly hard. So before you die, even though it is scripted, before you actually die, you waste all of your healing items. In this case, it's like, no, she kills you in 2 turns, so you don't have time to waste all your healing items. So that's nice, at least.
There's like, when I played Final Fantasy VI the first time, I think there's a Kefka fight that does that. Where
does that have one of those?
I think
I can't remember if it was a Kefka fight or what. I feel like it did happen in 6. Where it's scripted so that you have to lose, but it's not so hard that you couldn't do something. And I think like you can get him to 1 HP. And I finally got to the point where I was like, maybe I have to die because I can't kill this guy. And then, oh, yep, that's what has to happen.
So I'm playing Xenoblade right now, and it's hilarious because I did a bunch of side quests like a couple chapters ago, so I got over leveled. So then I just like focused on the plot, so now I'm back to normal. But while I was over leveled, the like super big bad that we've been scared of this whole time comes in to like reveal his final form to us, which is like he moves at the speed of light and it's possible to dodge.
He's the fastest in the fight, thing alive. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
But in the fight, I like killed him. And I was like,
lol.
This was really easy. Like, it wasn't even hard to get him down to half health. And then it cuts to the cutscene, all out Rogue Galaxy. Like, oh my god, this was so hard. What were we supposed to do? I'm just like, was it? Okay, I guess that's fine.
Sure.
Great. So they talk about, how powerful she is. And Luna says, you should use both Ginzuishous of the past and the future. Which in the manga, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get them near each other because you can fuck up everything forever if they touch. So
holy crap! Sorry, this battle gives 1,000 experience. I didn't notice that because it's the last battle of the chapter. But
so apparently, like I guess we weakened her enough because now we can actually fight her and do good damage. And
so in the cutscene in between, they're like, use the Ginzuishous together, and then there's like a little light show over her thing, and they're like, it didn't work, but did it work a little bit? And she's like, no, it didn't do crap, but apparently it did because we then just kill her.
Yeah.
That was weird.
So we beat her, and Usagi says a very not Usagi line, which is, Queen Beryl, how implacable. Like, that's not a word you'd know.
Yeah, I was like,
no.
That really? You don't know the word in black. Yeah, it's so funny.
So when Queen Beryl dies, she screams out Endymion, and I don't know why. I don't know why she's screaming for Mamoru.
Because the whole reason that she decided to go after the Silver Millenium back in the day was because she was in love with Endymion, and she was jealous of Serenity.
Okay.
And Queen Metalia showed up and offered Beryl was like a palace sorceress or something like that for Endymion. Metalia offered Beryl ultimate power so that she could be with Endymion and so that she could kill Serenity. And then she turned the generals against King Endymion and they attacked the Moon Kingdom and everything.
I thought this was related to our current plot of curing Mamoru, and I was like, I don't know how this ties together. I don't get it.
Fair enough. So Sailor Moon's just relieved that everybody's fine, and they still have to go find the Barazuishiou. So there's some conveniently placed green crystals all around, which like none of them look like they could be the Barazuishiou. But Usagi says, I don't know which one of these is the real Barazuishiou.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Neither do any of us. But Chibiusa apparently does.
Yeah, because she can triangulate it with her crystal.
Yeah, because she's Mamoru's kid or something, I guess.
Yeah.
So she finds it.
Something space-time, something destiny,
Yeah,
something magic crystal.
Exactly. So she finds it, but then Anshar shows up. turns out he hadn't been with us for a little bit, and he takes it away from her and says, "That's not for you."
Yeah, he's like, if I gave this to you, Tuxedo Mask would come back to his senses, and she's like, yeah,
exactly.
That's the point.
That's the thing we want.
He's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm bad. I'm evil. Sorry.
And then Sin shows up, and she's like, oh yeah, guess what? He's evil, and he's with me.
Yeah. So Anshar does say something, which is one of the things that makes me like him. Instead of saying, "Oh, you can't do that because that would foil our plans," he was just like, "No, if you bring him back, then we'll have to fight, and I don't want to fight you." So he's still like transitioning to being like
cute.
a good guy.
Yeah,
because he just didn't want to fight his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, he's like, I'm not on board with you. Like, I may not agree with being good, but I do respect you as a person.
Yeah.
Sometimes evil guys are the real nice guys.
Yikes.
But anyway, that's the end of the chapter. We head back to Tokyo, and and then we get ready for the next one. So, what'd you guys think?
I really liked this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
This one wasn't super grindy like the last chapter. I think the last chapter is probably the best one. Like it did more of the like, this is the RPG type things for it. But this one was like, hey, this is what it's like to have a party, and formations are a big thing, and you haven't ever been able to use them yet, and it just like it was a fun little 2-hour romp, and I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
I thought it was great too. I really like where the plot's going, because like in the previous thing, it was like, we have this big adventure, we have to go get the 4 magical MacGuffins, but then we got through that. So now I like how sometimes this is a criticism in a lot of games, but in this case, I think it's a plus. Like, we don't really know where the plot's going. They're just kind of dealing with things as they come up, and there's kind of a broader mystery that's happening. And again, normally that would be, I don't know, that would be like poor writing. Like, I don't know what's happening, but, or like, there's no like stakes or hook. But what really makes it work, I think, is Anshar. Anshar's the real heart of it for me, because it's like, they're just kind of dealing with sort of these episodic things. Like the whole thing with, the dad was like, basically a side quest. But like, the whole time Anshar is going through his development, and it's interesting. I also like how the game has, I feel like I've fallen into the game's flow now, and by flow I mean having literally no consistent structure whatsoever when it comes to like dungeons. Like, it has no, like, from a game design standpoint, there's no formal there's no form at all. It's just like, we're just gonna have the plot and the dungeons and the boss battles, and when there's battles and when there aren't battles, when you have random battles and when it's all scripted, or when you just have a bunch of cutscenes in the boss. Like, it's just completely arbitrary. But now that I've fallen into that, I'm like, that's not a bad way for a game to be. You just have to get used to it.
Right.
So now I'm just like, okay,
it's different, but it's not bad for being different.
Yeah. And at first, in chapter 1, I didn't like it, but now that I've played more of the game, I'm just like, yeah, sure, just like whatever you want, whatever the game wants to do, I'm down for it. I'll follow along. It's chill.
Cool.
And it seems to at least know that like cutscene boss sucks. So usually when you have boss cutscene boss, that last boss is like trivially easy. Because they don't want you to have to sit through it. They'll only give you hard ones if it's like there's a save point right before it type thing.
I also think, as a Sailor Moon noob, I think it's cool how I'm getting a lot more the gist of it than I was before. Not just with the plot stuff, but with the characters. So, like, y'all will say things about one character or another, about their personality, and I'm, like, 100% in agreement. Like, yeah, that totally matches up with what I've seen in the 6 hours I've been playing this video game. The 5 episodes of Sailor Moon I've seen in my entire life. Like, because this game is doing a good job of correctly capturing the what's going on with these characters. So even though I don't know the history, I'm like, yeah, totally. I totally get why this character feels this way. It's fun.
Yeah, I really like it. I have heard that the game opens up in chapter 4. I don't know how true that is. I think there's optional content in chapter 4. But I may be completely off my guff there. I haven't.
I can't totally recall either. It's been so long.
Yeah.
That may be the case. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll just see if we end up having to split it if there's a lot, or if there's optional content, we'll save it and have an optional episode or something. I don't know.
It should also
we'll just see what's up.
It should also be noted there is a Senshi we have not encountered yet.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
Which one?
I'm excited. She's my favorite. I'm so excited for it.
Which Senshi?
Pluto.
Oh, yeah, y'all have mentioned Pluto, and we haven't met her.
By the way, I didn't say this on the podcast, so I don't know if you know this, Spiffle, but press start and then work through your combinations and permutations of 2 and 3 Senshi, just like real quick, grind it out and get everybody's special moves, all their link moves. There's no plot or anything to do it. You just have to guess. Like,
so here's the thing. I did that very early in the game, and I meant to bring it up, but I like got them, like I did what you're just saying, but then I got into battle and they didn't show up. How do I act?
They're in
a special menu.
The icon is like 2 girls saying stop in the name of love.
And the menu is like empty. Or maybe they were all grayed out. I don't know. Even though I did what you said,
They may have been grayed out because you didn't have the correct Senshi with you. Because you need specific Senshi there in the group.
Do they have to be in a certain formation as well?
No. They just have to be together.
Why. That's weird because I was doing in chapter 1 where you have like all 5 of them. I don't know why it didn't work. Anyway, I'll try it again later. Maybe I'll just
could have been in chapter 1. Is it takes the MP cost from you and the other person. So if the other person would have been out of MP because you were using world shaking, because why wouldn't you be using world shaking in chapter 1? And so if she was out, if she was out, the other person wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Or if it was like the beginning of the game, maybe that character didn't have enough MP to use it, like their max or something. Because I think I tried it like literally like. Because I'm always experimenting, right? So I think I did it like at the very start of the game. Okay, cool. I'll just try again. I was probably just being dumb. Thank you for the reminder, because I had just given up on it.
Yeah, that's the only way to make Neptune deal more than 5 damage.
Yeah, I was linking up her and Chibiusa a lot because they actually do decent damage together.
Oh, one thing I love about their thing together is the description for it is like, this one's pretty obvious because it's just called like deep shaking.
Oh yeah, that's Uranus and Neptune's. Yeah.
I love that.
You had glitched out. I thought you had said.
Oh
Uranus.
no, I meant I was saying Chibiusa because Chibiusa sucks. But yeah, Uranus and Neptune together is pretty easy or pretty nice.
Yeah.
There's another one that says something like an old man, and I still don't get what that one means. But anyway,
I don't know.
That about does it for the week, I believe. Unless you guys had any other final thoughts.
No, good. I got it anyway.
So I did bring up the thing, and it says chapter 4, and said note this is the longest chapter in the game.
Okay,
so. We will probably split it into 2.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah. I don't know where we'll split it. So you start reading your thing, and then I'll come up with it.
Okay.
By the time that you get there.
Cool. If you like what you hear and want to help us cover hosting costs and game costs, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/rpgbookclub. If you want to talk to us, we have a Twitter at rpgbookclub, an email rpgbookclub@gmail.com, and our favorite, our Discord, which doesn't have a catchy URL, so you can find it in a link in the description. So join us next week when we will play through part of Chapter 4, which is Hostility and Friends.
Yeah. Spoilers. You go to the Silver Millenium. So we'll save at the first Luna P in the Silver Millennium, and that's where we'll end.
Cool. So
it's the first time we can save in the Silver Millennium.
Great.
Part 1 of Hostility and Friends.
We'll play through Hostility. We'll play through Friends.
Yes, there we go. For RPG Book Club, I've been Elias, Sailor Eli, Warren.
I have been Sam Allman.
And I've been Michael Spiffle Weapon.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.